Assalamu alaikum. Very warm welcome to Eocean Connect. This is Humayon Bashir handling today's session. We bring to you under this program discussions and insight into what is happening in field of technology, management, leadership, and what the leaders of tomorrow are shaping and reshaping the experiences we have. Today, it is my pleasure to have a leading bank's chief digital officer with us, Amin. Assalamu alaikum and welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. Pleasure to be here.
So, Amin, I was looking at Faysal Bank's numbers, and they look amazing. Faysal Bank is the second largest Islamic bank. And I think it's the first one, as far as I'm concerned, that converted from a traditional bank, commercial bank, to a fully Islamic bank. And this journey has happened only in the recent few years. And it is quite an experience, and it has delighted many of your customers. Also very interesting to see is the revenue and profitability of the bank, and talking of trillion transactions using the digital apps and others. So that is really amazing. So while we will be talking about a lot of things today, and later in the section, I want to hear your personal journey and other things. But let's start off with the Faysal Bank story. What has it done right? What have they done right in the last few years that they have taken over mind share and market share and so on? Please.
Well, to begin with, like I mentioned earlier, it's a pleasure to be sitting with the legend himself. So allow me to call you HB if you're okay with that.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Learning from the legend and sitting on the same table. And like you mentioned, sir, absolutely, that's correct. That Faysal Bank over the last few years has had a phenomenal run, especially in terms of its story of conversion from 100% conventional to an Islamic bank. And, you'd be surprised to hear that this is a case study even being picked up by Harvard itself. Because across the globe, this is the only entity that has been converted from 100%, standard traditional mode onto an Islamic mode.
Right.
And at this point in time, Faysal Bank is also facilitating a number of other banks, for that matter, in their journey. So the run has been great in terms of the numbers as well. And over the past 3-4 years, we've grown from a bank of about a footprint of 500 branches to now close to 900 branches.
Excellent.
So, and 900 branches spread over 300 cities of Pakistan.
Right.
So the footprint is increasing, and although our discussion and topic of today is on the digital side, but however, for an entity like Pakistan, for a market like Pakistan, we need to understand that there will always be a hybrid model of brick and mortar as well as digital.
Absolutely.
So happy to unfold the conversation with you, Chief.
So I would like to learn. The government of Pakistan, the parliament have passed law that all banking should convert to Islamic by 2028. And I've been interacting with several banks, and each bank has a journey of its own. So have you published some paper or some roadmap that others could benefit from? Or a Harvard case study or a LUMS case study on how to take, because this is very interesting. Every bank is reinventing the wheel on how to take from point A to point Z. And you have completed the journey 4 or 5 years ago.
Very interesting question that you raised, HB, but the whole perspective is we haven't created a 101 manual on it, but nonetheless, just to assist the entire industry on their journey of the conversion. We're happy to assist, and in fact, it's a pleasure to share that Faysal Bank is working closely with the regulator, the State Bank of Pakistan, on assisting other banks wherever they feel that they need to reach out to somebody in terms of the conversation around the conversion.
Okay.
A bit of a tongue twister.
Right.
The conversation around the conversion, especially around the accounting principles, the Islamic principles, the Sharia principles, on how to book trade, on how to manage the corporate book, etc. So Faysal Bank has been working very closely with a number of other banks as well in assisting them towards the journey of conversion.
Right. In terms of automation, Faisal Bank was already using some international package and some developed many local packages, and it has a very powerful IT and digital department. And now that you are heading digital department since few years, it's reached new heights. So how complex was the conversion from traditional to digital to Islamic banking for you at Faisal Bank? I mean, did you have to change the software and other applications?
Absolutely. The journey itself took a number of years, and like for any such big leap, so the biggest or the starting point, of course, starts from the culture itself.
Right.
So there was huge cultural transformation, a journey that took place for all across, about approximately 10,000 employees that we have, the length and breadth of it.
Right.
And the biggest, I think, success story has so far been that it's not just about conversion of systems. It's about the belief that, you're making a difference. It's the belief that, you're doing things on the economic front in the right manner.
Right.
And I believe it's only because our front-end teams have been able to connect with the audience, the customers, because in the initial phase, there was a lot of apprehension that, the customers might not be able to understand, or they might shy away or move away to another traditional institution because that's what they've been used to. But the pleasant surprise was that the customers also were equally embracive of this entire conversion, and it's been, the north from there.
So when you look at your number of customers, it has increased. So you think it is because of the Islamic banking that you have attracted more customers, or is it some of the services that you are offering, for example, digital and so on?
Well, definitely, I think I would say that the blessings of the Islamic conversion have been there.
Yeah.
And just to put a more quantifiable context to it, that Faisal Bank is currently the only bank in the industry which is offering a Islamic credit card as well. We call it the Noor card. So it's a Tawarruk-based model. And, not to get into the DNA details of it, but the whole concept is that there should be Islamic bank Sharia-compliant solutions. So likewise, every normal average consumer was either looking for, let's say, a credit card or an auto loan or a home loan. So the basic difference, of course, is the principles on how you create or construct that transaction. So all these things put together have created a distinction for Faisal Bank in the industry.
So how do you make a credit card Islamic? I'm a little bit interested in it.
Like there are multiple models in the Islamic finance world, Muraba, Musharaka, you must have heard the common terms.
Yes,
so Tawarruk is a similar model that where you, it's backed by an asset.
Right.
It's the transaction mode. So the end result, although might be the same, but how you achieve or how you go through the journey is the biggest difference.
Right.
So I think this is one of the key distinctions for Faisal Bank, because our Noor card has become a flagship product for the bank, and it's one of the most preferred bank cards in the banking circle. And in a very short period of time, we are now amongst the top 2-3 credit card players in the market.
Yeah, I've been enjoying some of the special benefits that the card offers in terms of spending and shopping and otherwise.
Fantastic to hear that.
So, take us through the digital side of the journey. So what all do you do at the bank that makes a difference, that sets you apart? So what are the different pillars of digital banking that you have adopted so far, or implemented, is the right word?
True. A very interesting bit of the conversation, HB, because in this day and age, every customer, irrespective of the socio-economic class, is looking towards ease and convenience.
Right.
So if you translate digital banking or digital solutions, it's all about convenience, because nobody's got the time to physically walk into a branch most of the times unless it's critical.
Sure.
And if I just put it up in a nutshell, 80% of the transactions in Faisal Bank now happens outside the branch. That means whether it's the ATM, the mobile app, the credit card, the debit card, or any other digital channel.
Right.
So it's only 20% by count. By value, of course, the branches handle a much larger value of the transaction. But in terms of the transaction volume, 80% of the transactions happen outside the branch. So you can imagine that there's a huge receptivity to channel which brings convenience. And if you talk about Faisal Bank, so there are a number of initiatives that we have taken to create that distinction for Faisal Bank. other than the traditional models that everybody's got, the mobile apps, internet banking, the cash deposit kiosks, and etc. One of the differentiation that we've created, you'd be surprised to hear that when we were going through our journey of digital transformation, we had an internal focus group that what is it that the customers want.
Okay.
So very soon, early on, we realized that like there might be 40 institutions in the industry pushing their own mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd be just one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So while it is extremely essential, but we realized that most of our customers are there on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp banking, those were the seeds of WhatsApp banking.
Okay.
So now at this point in time, there are about 70% of our retail audience is now on WhatsApp banking.
Right.
And not only can they actually access their accounts or the bank 24/7 on the go,
Right.
but they can even conduct fund transactions, fund transfer transactions, or bill payments, etc. through WhatsApp. So that's been hugely popular for us. And beyond that, we also have a lot of digital solutions for the SMEs and the merchants. We launched about a year and a half back our point of sale merchant acquiring business, where we provide e-commerce payment gateways, we provide point of sale terminal solutions, we provide ECR integrations, we provide a number of such customizable digital solutions which help the SMEs make their business life easier.
Okay, if you look at other areas like treasury, trade finance, etc., so what role is automation and digital playing there?
A huge role, because even if you look towards the SME right now, we are working towards digital supply chain financing.
Okay.
So traditionally, if you're much more well aware than me on the SME side, that it's very paper driven. The processes take the lengthy processes which take days for the entire process to be culminated. But digital supply chain financing is the whole concept revolves around creating that ease for the distributors or the end users or the retailers.
Right.
So they get instant access to credit. So because they already have a certain degree of history available with their parent entity.
Right.
Or the entity sitting at the top through which the distributor is actually on a daily basis or a weekly basis making purchases, etc. But data use has never been there in terms of making the decisions. So we've cut through the stacks of papers. We've digitized the supply chain process to make decisions much more faster, so that those A category customers.
So these are analytics-based decisions and based on ECIB and other data that you get spending. That is for individuals, but for businesses as well. So do all these come together to make a decision about credit and lending and so on?
Absolutely correct, sir, because data has now become the fundamental point, especially when you look at digitalization. Later, if we get to talk about AI and also the basics of any building blocks of any automation is data. So the availability of data, whether it's structured or even if it's unstructured data lying in pools, but it's all about how you connect that data and translate into meaningful results or actionable intelligence in terms of making the decision.
Excellent. So you are at Eocean head office today. It's a company that was set up 17 years ago. Primarily was a SMS and messaging aggregator. But in the last 5 years, it has moved on towards a journey towards WhatsApp of business as well as digital connect, and now working to introduce and develop and going through a learning curve of AI agents, and also looking at some of the other emerging technologies. So while you had only a very brief introduction, did you see something interesting that caught your eye today in the interaction with the Eocean team?
Well, Eoceans have been partners with Faysal Bank in a number of other ventures as well, and we've always found them to be front-facing and progressive.
Right.
And while this space that you mentioned, digital space or the tech space, is very fast evolving.
Right.
And Eocean is one of those few entities in Pakistan that I've seen that they're very receptive in terms of customizing solutions. So this discovery session that we have a mini brief into it, a mini window into it, and the other one that we are planning, definitely there are some exciting solutions that I've seen today. And I think hats off to the entire team and how they've picked it up.
I hope they also demonstrated to you the bots and the Urdu language conversation piece that they have built. I found it very amazing, and especially the bot was intelligent enough to understand a few things. I think the KE complaint example is, if that was shown to you, is tells you what is the power of AI and what is the power of all these AI agents and bots behind it.
I was highly impressed, if I can say so. But the whole perspective is that if you look at any tech, so other than the convenience that I mentioned earlier, from the organization's perspective, either tech will either enhance your revenues or optimize your expenses,
Right.
or it will create enhancement in the customer experience.
Right.
So if any tech ticks all the boxes, then you got a win-win solution.
True.
And the example that you're given about the conversational agents, the agentic solutions, I think that's the way forward, because it's all about optimizing the human capacity, the human workload. As organizations are growing, of course, you cannot grow the other resources at the same speed. So you need to optimize on your expenses. So such solutions, technology that you just mentioned, I think they'll make a huge difference.
Well, since you are at the cutting edge of all technologies, I'm sure you will take big steps in this direction of AI and all the good things that are coming our way as a society, as a human race, in terms of technology. So let's turn to, you said you had close to 1,000 branches, 900 branches or so. And you have a very powerful digital platform. And on the other hand, we have State Bank that has issued 4 or 5 licenses. And the first bank, Mashriq Bank, has already gone live, or at least cut the tape. So how do you see digital banks challenging your position? Because opening a branch, having brick and mortar, and then having layers of digital, at some point the price to the earnings ratio and cost of servicing a customer, whether it be a corporate customer or an individual commercial consumer, that cost could become prohibitive. So what is your view, and what is the challenge you see from these digital banks?
You've hit it spot on, HB. And for the answer to this question, I'd like to take a step back and go into my days when I was with Visa. Mm-hmm. So for Pakistan as a territory, we used to call it brick and click.
Brick and click. That's interesting.
Because in Pakistan, you can never have a digital-only strategy.
True.
Because if you look at the overall population and the density, or let's say the availability of financial solutions for that 250 million population, so we've only got about 18,000 branches for a 250 million population country.
Right.
Pakistan, since the longest, has been known as financially underserved, underbanked.
Right.
And while digital is definitely the way forward, because our own agenda at Faysal Bank is to have a digital-first strategy, and that's how we've been positioning ourselves as a progressive digital or innovative bank. At the same time, we cannot overlook the fact that there's a huge population in Pakistan that needs that human interaction, or they need guidance, or they need a physical presence.
Right.
So while we'll be growing in certain segments and markets in the physical footprint, there's a huge segment that we understand that are tech savvy, and we got a great number of digital solutions. And very recently, we also dabbled with AI, and we launched an AI-based chatbot.
Okay.
And I think in the Asian Technology Awards, we even won the award for the best AI chatbot experience in the financial sector.
Right.
And just to give a short glimpse into the what and the why of AI, because at this point in time, I think 30% of our incoming customer query traffic is now being handled by those AI chatbots. So not every query lands at a call center agent or a front-end desk.
Right.
So these bots will definitely change the landscape for customer interaction, and even in terms of the bank itself, organization itself, in terms of the cost factor.
Okay, great. You touched upon the very sensitive subject of large section of population which is unbanked, and we have not reached them as yet. And many of these people, our fellow countrymen, are not even comfortable to walk into a bank branch.
True.
So how do we see, would digital be, and they are reasonably savvy in digital. And most of them are using WhatsApp. They are using TikToks. They are watching YouTubes. Some of them are creating their own. And even in smaller cities and villages, There are programmers, doing freelance programming and earning $100, $200, $300 per month, which is very good for a young man of
Absolutely.
25, 30 years old. So, do you have any specific program for these unbanked population?
There are a couple of initiatives that we are working hand in hand with the State Bank as well, especially around financial inclusion.
Right.
So they've included Faysal Bank amongst those few entities that we go out into the market in the less served, underserved areas to create or build awareness around financial products.
Okay.
So it's not just about opening the account; it's also about creating the financial literacy that lives can change, or especially if you create transparency around the exchange of money.
Right.
There's a great deal that can be improved. And even beyond that, we have got our digital Asan account. That means it's a basic banking account.
Right.
So like you mentioned that people are scared of getting into a bank because, of the normal lengthy or number of documents that are required to be submitted.
Tell me about it.
So this digital Asan account is actually, very fast pass-through account where you only need to enter 10, 12 fields and your account is open.
Right.
So the whole concept is to take banking to the people rather than having the people come to the bank, which is the entire concept about digital.
So today I can go to and access your app, and somebody who has a valid ID card, he can, with a few clicks, open a basic level bank account.
Absolutely, sir. That's the entire concept, that to have banking services permeate across all levels.
Right.
And that even, let's say, if it's a homeowner, a lady sitting or working, doing part of the gig economy,
Excellent.
operating from her home, even she should have an account on her own name, because a lot of instances you see across Pakistan that they might be operating or economically independent, yet their banking services are either via their husband or their father or their brother, etc.
Yes.
But through financial inclusion and awareness, what you're doing is you enabling 50% of the population, which are the women, you're making them more financially independent.
So do you see a clear trend of women coming forward to do that? Is there if you look at the gender distribution and ratios, is there a uptick there? Has it had success?
I think as an industry or as a nation, we've embarked on that journey. So now you see more women coming into the workforce as well.
Right.
And especially around the financial literacy and being financially literate.
Right.
That's why those programs are being run. And for that matter, even Faysal Bank has created a whole separate account around that. We call it the Amal Women account. So it's a both physical account which you can open within the branches as well as a digital account. So the whole perspective is it's centered around women and their needs and requirements. So we have got life insurance, we've got education insurance for their children, and a number of other features, discounts at, maybe salons and other places where women are interested in spending their money. But the whole concept is to tailor products for your particular segments.
Right. Tell me next, how is the board of directors interacting with the senior management and giving directions or accepting some of the cutting edge and breaking norms with the past type solutions? What is the board's reaction?
Well, HP, to be honest, top down in Faysal Bank, it's a very progressive structure that if there's any innovation that has value for the end users, either internal customers or external, we've got a very supporting structure. So all the stakeholders come together to deliver something which will make a tangible difference in their lives, either process improvement internally or externally. So all the initiatives which I spoke about, whether our adventure in the AI chatbots or the launch of the digital supply chain financing solutions or the revamp of our mobile app or the other avenues that we have moved into. So I think this is one of the key differences or differentiators for any organization.
Right.
If you've got a structure which is supportive, then it's the sky's the limit then.
So I have interacted with several banks and its boards, and I've served on some banks' boards as well. Traditionally speaking, the push for technology and push for new things was coming more from the technology department, and in recent years it is coming from the business side. The business side is screaming for change, and in many organizations, the business side has also created its own mini IT groups, because the central IT or the central digital was not responding fast enough, and they created some of their own solutions in silos. So do you see that changing now, that the board is asking for things? Is the board interested in AI and other things that are to be done, are on the horizon?
Absolutely, HV. I think it's a very forward-looking management right from the very top, like I mentioned, and
Right.
I'd like to also mention that the vision is always played down or laid down by the captain.
Okay.
And in our case, our CEO is extremely progressive in terms of investing in technology and pushing the businesses, like you mentioned, in taking steps towards technological initiatives which actually make a difference for the bank and the consumers. I'll give a very small example that traditionally earlier that we spoke about credit cards and auto loans and all.
Right.
So right now there's a great deal of push from our CEO to digitize that experience, that the customers, they should be able to apply for a credit card through the mobile app and instantly being able to get a decision. So we're working on solutions on instant decisions for consumer loans, and for that matter, even how to digitize the corporate experiences for the corporate commercial customers, the SMEs. So you're absolutely spot on. It has to be driven from the top, any such new initiative, and we are lucky at Faysal Bank.
So it's great. I mean, Yusuf Hussain, the president, is and his team, and you, as part of the team, are driving all this, and you have the full support of the board.
Absolutely.
That gives. I don't think anything can succeed without, because the board authorizes the experimentation money, if I may,
True.
the proof of concepts, and a little bit of a trial and error, because there are you try something and you fail, which is not bad, as long as you learn from it and can build upon it. So if we turn to the current buzz, the 2025 buzz is initiated more from the USA by Donald Trump, President Trump. And one of the key differentiating factors or movement in the right direction was the Genius Act, which has brought the crypto and the blockchain technology, if I may use the word, out of the closet into the open. And SEC has changed its tone and stance. Big companies like BlackRock have embraced and accepted crypto, Bitcoin, and others. Many companies are come up with treasuries systems based on crypto and blockchain. Swift is doing pilot with 30 customers mainly in Africa, because I think the Swift is very expensive there. So what is your view on blockchain, etc.? And in this area, just if I may just add, the Pakistan government has certainly taken steps. In the last 6 months, we have the PWARA Act. We are waiting for State Bank and FBR to clarify some of the rules, SECP as well, and clarify the taxation matters. So how do you view this step, and what could you do to help that?
Like you rightly pointed, HB, that technology is a evolutionary game, and the two key areas that you pointed out at this point in time, taking over the global markets as a storm, that's more of a revolutionary change.
Right.
And any change, of course, needs to be embraced, because you don't want to be outdated or standing under the tsunami. You have to ride the wave. You have to be on top of the tsunami.
Right.
So even in blockchain, Pakistan, I'd like to commend the efforts of State Bank of Pakistan that they've taken a pretty progressive step by creating a formation of banks where they've already created a blockchain, I'd say, sandbox. So there are a number of 4 or 5 banks that are currently working with the State Bank of Pakistan.
Is Faysal Bank one of them?
Faysal Bank is luckily part of those 5 banks.
Excellent.
That are working with the State Bank of Pakistan in terms of experimenting around the blockchain,
Okay.
especially around the KYC part of it.
Right.
Because KYC is the biggest struggle
Yeah, we have to take care of the FATF aspect.
Absolutely.
We don't want to get into trouble again.
Absolutely. And even on the crypto side, I think every country needs to manage or see where do they stand in terms of how does it benefit their economy.
Right.
So while we have the regulators to look into it, that how can Pakistan benefit from this, or if there's a possibility of how to, that new technology permeate and create differences at the ground level as well. So that's yet to be seen. But at the same time, we've seen that there have been frameworks around the cloud policy as well from
Right.
State Bank. We have recently seen the national AI policy also being issued.
True.
Then there's also the Pakistan Crypto Council as well that the government is.
Yes.
And number of initiatives, there's a whole long list if we look at it, because if you recently recall, so there's also a little bit of initiative of talk around the digital rupee as well,
Right.
where State Bank is also kind of reached out to entities in Japan to assist them in creating a framework or do the preliminary study
central
around
bank digital currency coin
absolutely,
or something.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we are at the cusp of that change. So a lot of it also needs to be seen that how can we stand to benefit from it as a nation. But I think we're in a good position.
It is so heartening to. I didn't know about this. It's so heartening to learn that State Bank has taken such a positive step, and with the knowledge that Faysal Bank is part of it, and I'm sure you are very much into it. I see a very, very positive outcome by next year, I think.
Looking forward to
in
it.
this area. How do you see a bank's future vision? What is the bank? What are the youngsters going to see in 3 years or 5 years' time? What is the future vision for the bank?
I think for any forward-looking entity, whether it's the banking industry or any consumer entities, it's all about connecting with your consumers. So if we can see that wave of change in especially the banking or the financial sector as well. The Gen Z or the Gen Alpha or the future customers of tomorrow,
Right.
these nomenclatures become buzzwords now, but it's all about connecting with who you will be serving tomorrow.
Right.
So if you look at their perspective on banking, it's much more different than how you and I look at it.
Right.
So the whole philosophy around this digital screen generation is that like we earlier mentioned, that they're the mobile first generation.
Okay.
So other than the basics of the mobile first products that will be around there, it's all about hyper personalization. Right now, since the beginning, if you look at it, since the past 50 years, banking, so to speak, has been very static.
Right.
That we offer what's there and we put it on the table.
True.
Nothing is personalized, because if there's even for that matter any loan product, so there's a very set standard parameters. It's called those product programs against which the
Right.
entire program is chalked out, and then it's available to the entire segments altogether. But when you talk about the AI or the tech or the digital space, it's all about hyper personalization. I'd like to give an example. That, for example, if your bill is due for that matter, so even today you might get a prompt on your mobile app, okay, that your bill is due on 20th of October, such and such.
True.
But when you get into personalization or the real leverage of AI or tech or data, so it might remind me that saying, Amin, that okay, your bill is due on the 20th, and the account that you've tagged from which your funds are going to be debited, you have a low balance over there.
Right.
So please ensure that your balance is topped up before your due date.
Okay.
So that's the level of personalization that that's going to be out there. That's data driven.
Right.
That's driven. That will be different for you and me because the preferences could be different. So it's all about the personalization and how we leverage that.
Excellent. So I think we are looking at a future where we will cross this, bridge this divide also between the unbanked and the affluent ones, and
Absolutely.
Living in the cities who are part of this system. And we will see many new technologies, and we'll see fast-paced remittances and service at our doorstep, and so on. It's very interesting. So let's turn to the man sitting here. Who is Amin?
Would love to share my personal journey as well, a little bit of background just for the interest of the audience as well. That in life, many times you happen to life, then at times life happens to you. So
True.
for me, in terms
very well said.
So in terms of my career as a banker, so I'm an incidental banker because fresh out of MBA, out of IBS. Of course, I was by major in marketing and finance with the aspiration of being part of any FMCG,
Right.
without naming anyone in particular, the bigger names that have been around.
Right.
But the interesting story is that there was a friend of mine, a colleague, a classmate, that a batchmate. He was going out to give a test for a bank.
Uh-huh.
And I said I had no interest in banking, especially a bank which was kind of a startup bank at that point in time.
Right.
So I said I've got no interest, but he said okay, let's at least accompany me for that
Right.
entire test. So long story short, so both of us went in together, and he flunked the test and I passed the test. And that was the beginning of my journey into banking, and that was way back in 2002, and that was my first job fresh out of college, and that was Union Bank.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've been in consumer banking and digital banking. So I've had the opportunity of working with big names in the industry, the likes of Shaukat Tareen Saab, Union Bank, and
legend in his own right.
Legend in his own right, and especially on the consumer banking side, because he was the one that
he's the father of credit card in Pakistan. That's what I call him.
Absolutely. So I've been fortunate enough to have having worked with a number of big names in the industry, because you need those mentors, you need those people to culture you and grow you through, especially when you're in the early stages.
Right.
And one thing that I'd like to mention specifically as a special point, that once midway in my career, I'd taken a detour from banking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When I got bored of banking, I just wanted to try something different, and I joined K Electric when it was. Recently, it had turned into a private entity when Abraj had taken over.
Oh, right.
And I'd taken a role which was absolutely different to what I'd been pursuing and doing. So I had become the general manager for media and public relations for an entity which was one of the most hated entities at that point in time.
I know.
Now they're doing fantastic.
It's come a long way.
And but one thing which I'd like to. The reason why I'm mentioning this, because there was one key takeaway which from that point in time till now, which I hold very closely with me, is that the customer first philosophy.
Right.
I learned at KE that no matter whatever the situation, if you're honest and transparent with your customers, so that goes a very long way.
True.
So that customer connect, that honesty, and that passion to turn around an entity which might be seen at that point in time in one of the worst situations. But if the leadership is good and if you're committed to your objectives, then anything can happen.
Right. So, and when you moved from, you have had exposure with multiple organizations. So what do you find are the basic characteristics or traits needed for success in, let's say, in banking as an example? Because there are a lot of youngsters wanting to come into this field. So this I want a benefit for the young people.
Absolutely. We agree that no matter what you do, passion has to be the number one ingredient.
Exactly.
So if you're missing that passion, then it'll just be a routine job.
Okay.
And normally, we look at banking as something which is dry or boring. And, I see a lot of youngsters or fresh grads not preferring banking. Mm-hmm. But the whole perspective is that banking is one of those fundamental institutions which are serving the entire country. Mm-hmm. And if you take away banking, so, every single day we make transactions in our lives. Mm-hmm. So if you minus the cash part of it, which is slowly getting digitized.
Right.
So banking is the fundamental cog in the wheel, which is making everything move. So I tell my team quite often that the decisions that you make on your tables today, just imagine the fact that you're creating the difference in millions of lives across on the other side. Because the kind of service that goes through or the kind of product innovation that you're putting across, the thought that is going behind today on the tables of what you're constructing will actually be used or taken up by millions of people. So you're in the process of transforming lives. So if you look at it from that perspective, that gives me that drive, because whatever we're constructing or doing actually doesn't have an impact just around me, but across a huge number of people.
Exactly. I think very well put. You and your team are helping transform many lives of the people and creating a path for the youngsters and creating customer service levels that were not available before. And I think you, Amin, and your team at Faysal Bank have done a great job, and congratulations on that. Thank you for listening. As part of Eocean Connect, We had a great discussion with the Chief Digital Officer of Faysal Bank, and I hope you benefited from it. I enjoyed and learned a lot. Thank you.